On Authentic Ag, we talk to the latest Truman Scholarship winner from Kansas State University, a soon-to-be Ag Economics graduate, Sara Gammon. We'll talk about the experience of going through that process. We'll also have features from the Kansas Soybean Commission and Kansas Department of Agriculture, as well as updates from the Kansas Livestock Association and Paragon AG.
Brought to you in part by the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Kansas Farm Bureau, a grassroots ag organization representing the state's farm and ranch families since 1919, KFB.org. And the Kansas Wheat Commission, lending in the adoption of profitable innovations from wheat, online at kswheat.com.
Welcome to the Western Kansas Wildlife Travel Center, right here in my hometown of Oakley, Kansas. We're the front door of Western Kansas, located on three main highways, I-70, US 83, and US 40. And all those roads lead to history, beautiful scenery, and adventure, no matter which direction you go. We now have an IHOP. That brand that you've trusted up and down the road in all your travels is staffed with local folks, real people, just like you and me, and we're waiting on you to join us. So for fun, adventure, fuel up, fuel your body, and let's have some fun.
In agricultural news from agview.net, President Donald Trump signed an executive order to keep meatpacking plants open during the COVID-19 pandemic. The president used the Defense Production Act to order companies to stay open as critical infrastructure, as meatpacking plants over the last couple of weeks have closed with spikes of the coronavirus cases among employees. The plan allows the federal government to supply additional personal protective equipment to meat processing facilities. The supply chain slowdown presents dire factors for farmers, with poultry and pork producers left with no alternative other than to euthanize animals. The order also affects processing plants for beef, chicken, eggs, and pork. Iowa's senator urged the administration to invoke the Defense Production Act. Those senators asked for assistance for processing plants and assistance for euthanizing animals, indemnity payments as well for those depopulation costs, and mental health assistance for those that are affected. A bipartisan group of U.S. House members, led by Kansas 1st District Congressman Dr. Roger Marshall, has introduced the Clean Fuels Deployment Act. This legislation authorizes up to $500 billion over 5 years for the Department of Transportation to provide grants that incentivize the deployment of fueling infrastructure for ethanol and biodiesel. The bill specifically focuses on ethanol blends greater than 10% and biodiesel blends greater than 20%. The program could also be used to enhance pipelines and terminals to blend and carry ethanol, and biodiesel funding for the Clean Fuel Grant Program could be used to incentivize the deployment of biofuel infrastructure and convert existing infrastructure to deliver those higher blends. The U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement will enter effect July 1st. That, according to U.S. Trade Representative Robert Lighthizer. The July 1st date represents a one-month delay from the original timeline following the signing of the agreement by the U.S., Canada, and Mexico. In a statement, Lighthizer said the agreement supports more balanced reciprocal trade, leading to freer markets, fairer trade, and robust economic growth in North America. The agreement contains significant improvements and modernizes approaches to rules of origin, agriculture market access, intellectual property, digital trade, financial services, labor, and numerous other sectors. Lighthizer said the crisis and recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic demonstrates that now more than ever, the U.S. should strive to increase manufacturing capacity and investment in North America. Lighthizer calling the start of the USMCA a landmark achievement in that effort. The trade agreement ensures that most agriculture tariffs remain at zero and expands dairy market access to Canada for the U.S., among other benefits. And the coordinator of 2 programs in Kansas that help provide nutritious food and other assistance to low-income families is encouraging the state's residents to apply as soon as possible to receive recently updated benefits. Lisa Ross oversees the administration of the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program Education, or SNAP-Ed, and the Expanded Food and Nutrition Education Program in Kansas. She said the federal government has approved sweeping changes to the benefits available through these 2 programs. Now, among the updates, households currently receiving SNAP benefits will receive the maximum monthly allotment through May. In addition, due to the pandemic, the Kansas Department of Children and Families, DCF, has temporarily waived work requirements and the training required to receive food assistance. And Ross said certification periods for SNAP benefits have increased from 6 months to 12 months for most households, 24 months for seniors and folks with disabilities. But to receive those enhanced benefits, a household member needs to apply through the DCF Self-Service Center that's available online. That site also lists all the eligibility requirements and a full list of benefits that are available. We'll find more ag information online at agview.net. Stay with us. We meet a Truman Scholar when we return.
Ag Promo Source is a unique group of marketing specialists with one mission: help your ag business grow. Each affiliate has their own area of expertise, and they work together to bring you advice, products, and services. To get started, visit agpromosource.com. Ag Promo Source. Together we grow.
Sure Crop Fertilizers was started by my father, Don Sherman, and my mother, Shirley Sherman. Family business that started in the 80s. We predominantly focus on plant nutrients and what we can do to give growers better responses with the fertilizer dollars that they do, and what we can do to make those things work better for the grower. We're based out of Seneca, Kansas. We work with growers in their soil analysis to figure out what they need, and then we can put those in a blend that gives them the best results, and so that we can deliver that direct to their farm so that they have those nutrients where they need them, when they need them, and so that they can apply them in a manner that's very efficient to them and works well on their planting systems and what they're doing. Sure Crop Fertilizers has been around for a long time. We always say we're big enough to take care of everything you need, but we're small enough to do it quickly. You can get a hold of us at 1-800-635-4743. Our website is surecropfertilizers.com, and you can always email me at Corey@surecropfertilizers.com, and with any questions you have, we'll be glad to answer it and work with you.
And our special guest this week is Sara Gammon. She is a senior at K-State and just a few days ago was awarded a Truman Scholarship. So, Sara, glad to catch up with you. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Well, let's talk about this. K-State has a rich tradition, especially of Truman Scholars. I believe they're still number one when it comes to land grant universities that the students receive the Truman.
Yeah, I am actually K-State's 36th Truman Scholar, which I think is just an absolute honor, and very lucky to be in a place that helps foster growth and helps students be able to achieve all the different types of scholarships and opportunities like this.
We've had a lot over the years and have gone on to do great things. So we'll talk about maybe what some of your goals are in just a bit, but maybe take us through this process of how, did your advisor say, hey, you would be a good candidate for this, or take us through the process to get where you are today as an awardee?
Yeah, so I have always been interested in government and policy, and so the Truman Scholarship has actually been on my radar since high school. I knew a little bit about what it was. I never knew anyone that got the scholarship, but it was something that I thought would be maybe in the future what I wanted to look forward to. And so coming to K-State, I met with Jim Hohenberry, who is the Director of Nationally Competitive Scholarships at K-State, and he's an absolutely wonderful resource and helps students really figure out which opportunities that they think they'll best qualify for and some things that they want to keep on their radar for the future. And so I actually applied to be one of K-State's nominees last year during my sophomore year. And so it's a pretty long application of a lot of things about you, what you're involved in, where you're from, and what you want to do after graduation. And a big chunk of the application is a policy proposal. And so you can talk about anything that you want, whether it's changing an existing policy or coming up with something completely new. And your application is judged based off of the entirety of what you put in there. And so we did that, and then K-State's able to pick 4 nominees who are then able to apply for the national application. And so I filled that out this past Christmas break and turned it in January, I believe. And then I heard back about getting a finalist interview in early March and had that interview actually over Zoom while I was in quarantine at my house in Manhattan. And then I found out just a week and a half ago, President Myers called me and told me I'd gotten a scholarship, and I was just absolutely shocked, but very grateful for this opportunity. And so now it's kind of a waiting game. A lot of the programming that they had planned for this summer isn't going to happen in person, and so it'll be a little bit different this year, but I'm very excited for this opportunity and to get to meet all of the incredible individuals who are part of my cohort and previous cohorts.
Sara Gammon, who is a student at the Kansas State University and the latest Truman Scholarship winner, is our guest. We're going to take a break. We're going to talk about that policy proposal and where her experience might take her in her career. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
What if U.S. soybean meal were more than a commodity? If seed companies and the soybean checkoff built a better variety? That future is here. The time is now. To meet end-user demands, the Soybean Checkoff is investing in the compositional quality of soybeans, including meal. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Our guest this week is Sara Gammon, who is a senior at K-State from Drexel, Missouri, but she is in the College of Agriculture at K-State and the latest Truman Scholarship winner. So, Sara, let's talk about now you've been awarded the scholarship. President Meyer called you. And so where do you go from here? What's the next step to complete this?
Yeah, so I will be graduating, like you said, from K-State in May and then attending graduate school this fall. So I plan to go to the University of Cambridge in England for a Master's of Philosophy in Development Studies. So I'm really looking forward to it, and I hope that classes are in person, but if they're online, I think it will still be just as great.
Okay, so then let's talk about your essay or your proposal, your policy proposal. What was it about, and what do you want to see happen?
Yeah, so my policy proposal was to reform the way that the United States goes about international food aid. And so we are one of the only major donor countries that still gives a majority of our donations in kind rather than cash-based. And so I wanted to look at this in a way of possibly reforming the way we do food aid in a way that benefits both the American farmers and the recipients in other countries. And so a lot of my proposal was centered around reforming how we go about doing in-kind, not getting rid of it completely, but making sure that when we use in-kind, it's more of a situation where it's best due to if there's a famine or due to if there's no market access, but more switching towards a cash-based system that allows more flexibility for the recipient to be able to buy what they need and then hopefully stimulate the local economy by buying from local farmers. And then also incorporating different measures that have to do with the shipping requirement. And so a lot of our food aid is required to be sent from a U.S. vessel to the recipient countries. And so that can have a lot of added costs. And by being able to alleviate those costs, that would hopefully free up more money that could be used to give to the recipients in the beneficiary countries. And so I know it's a lot of changes, and I think that it could be beneficial, but making sure that we look at each country on an individual basis and finding out what they truly need, if that is in-kind food aid or if cash-based would work better. But just trying to strengthen the system overall and reduce inefficiencies.
Right, and you're also doing a lot of analysis or wanting to look at ways to empower women more in agriculture.
Yes. So there's, under the Food and Agricultural Organization of the United Nations, they have a program to where when food aid is distributed, they also invest in long-term assets within the local community. And so I thought that this would be a great way if we were able to use the money saved from reducing the shipping requirements to spend it on things that will help the local community be able to become more self-sufficient and sustainable in the long run. And so whether that is building a well in the community so the women don't have to go as far or as long to gather water for their family, or if it's implementing terraces to reduce erosion in their fields, or anything of that nature that is going to be beneficial for the local farmers, which most of the time are women, and able to make their lives easier, but leaving it as flexible as possible to make sure that whatever we are implementing is what the community wants and what the community needs.
Well, again, Sarah, congratulations. So you get this done. What kind of a career path do you want once you get this master's degree done?
So I would love to go on to eventually get a PhD. I'm not sure, I guess, where that will end up, but I would love to work in development economics or agricultural economics and really work with people from all around the globe and helping them to be the best they can be and working on the ground with the local community in order to help them develop and get to where they want to be.
Well, Sarah, congratulations, folks. This can be somebody we're going to follow and has a bright future. And so, Sarah, thanks for being with us. And again, congratulations and good luck.
Thank you.
Sara Gammon, K-State student and the latest recipient of a Truman Scholarship, has been our guest. We'll have more in just a moment.
Premier Farm and Home has what you need to make your lawn the best in the neighborhood.
Hi, I'm Ken. We choose Premier Farm and Home for the professional look that we do ourselves.
Feel free to stop in. You can also visit our website at heycow.com.
Kansas Corn reminds you that E15 fuel is the right choice for every kind of driver. For the car enthusiast, E15 has higher octane. For the thrifty driver, E15 is priced lower than regular unleaded. For the nature lover, E15 provides cleaner air. For the shopper who buys local, E15 has more ethanol from our Kansas corn farms. Choose E15 for a higher octane, lower price, cleaner American fuel. Message from the Kansas Corn Commission. Learn more at kscorn.com.
The U.S. soy industry is open for business. Our planting season is moving forward and our soy industry continues to operate at near full capacity. U.S. farmers continue to be reliable, sustainable suppliers of high-quality soybeans. Though recent recessions, transportation delays, and limited tourism have impacted the soy market in other regions across the world, there are still many opportunities for U.S. soy exports to these regions. The U.S. Soybean Export Council is focused on expanding exports and investing in emerging markets where protein deficiency is a growing problem. Through an education component, this strategy will increase demand for soy in markets where there is substantial room for growth. When looking at the domestic consumers of soybean meal, the U.S. Meat Export Federation reported a substantial increase in exports in February for both pork and beef. The USA Poultry and Egg Export Council reports echoed similar increases for broiler and egg exports. Despite the hurdles that faced these soybean checkoff supported programs this spring, animal agriculture exports continue to seek and find opportunities that position the U.S. as a reliable supplier in the global market. To learn more about current export situations, visit www.ussec.org.
Many seed companies claim to offer the latest genetics, but how many have tested those genetics in soils just like yours? The Oldie Seed Know to Grow research program has fully tested the latest seed genetics in soils that are right in your neighborhood. The Oldie Seed Know-to-Grow program can recommend the best performing hybrids from technologies like Enlist, Extend, and Liberty Link that will optimize the yield and profit of every acre on your farm. Contact Oldie Seed today.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
As the world continues to face new challenges daily as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, thousands of Kansans who work in a wide variety of roles within agriculture are continuing their efforts to serve the needs of the state. Yes, agriculture is an essential function, and we're still in business, but it's certainly not business as usual. Here at the Kansas Department of Agriculture, while the office doors are closed to the public, we are still working from home to support the agriculture stakeholders and licensees who are focused on their continuity of business. Kansas is fifth in the nation in value of ag production, so we know the state and the nation are relying upon Kansas farmers, ranchers, and agribusinesses for the food, fuel, and fiber they produce. The cattle must be fed, the grain must be milled, and the food must be processed and packaged and delivered to your grocery store. So that work continues, and everyone in Kansas agriculture is re-examining everything they do to increase online capabilities, limit human-to-human interaction, and enhance their already robust biosecurity efforts so they can produce what we all need while protecting their families, their employees, and their partners in the food supply chain. Throughout it all, KDA will still be here to help and support Kansas agriculture. We have a special page on our website dedicated to COVID-19 response, with ag-related industry guidance, state and national ag resources, updated news about the state response, and contact information to reach staff in all of the KDA divisions and programs. Go to agriculture.ks.gov/coronavirus, or just click on the link on our homepage. Our focus remains on the continuity of the food supply chain, public health and safety, and the protection of animal health and welfare. And our gratitude remains directed at all of you out there who are serving the needs of the state right now in so many ways. Be safe.
Sure Crop Fertilizers was started by my father, Don Sherman, and my mother, Shirley Sherman. Family business that started in the 80s. We predominantly focus on plant nutrients and what we can do to give growers better responses with the fertilizer dollars that they do, and what we can do to make those things work better for the grower. We're based out of Seneca, Kansas. We work with growers in their soil analysis to figure out what they need, and then we can put those in a blend that gives them the best results, and so that we can deliver that direct to their farm so that they have those nutrients where they need them, when they need them, and so that they can apply them in a manner that's very efficient to them and works well in their planting systems and what they're doing. Sure Crop Fertilizers has been around for a long time. We always say we're big enough to take care of everything you need, but yet we're small enough to do it quickly. You can get a hold of us at 1-800-635-4743. Our website is surecropfertilizers.com, and you can always email me at Corey@surecropfertilizers.com, and with any questions you have, we're glad to answer it and work with you.
KLA President Harry Mosier sent a letter to USDA Ag Secretary Sonny Perdue requesting an increase in the payment limit included in the Coronavirus Food Assistance Program. While many details of the program have yet to be released, indications are the livestock industry will receive a total of $9.6 billion in direct payments. The breakdown would be $5.1 billion for cattle, $2.9 billion for dairy, and $1.6 billion for the hog industry, with payment limitations of $125,000 per commodity and $250,000 per producer. Mosier expressed KLA's extreme concern that this payment limit would only represent a small percentage of losses experienced by many livestock producers. The letter highlighted a recent study that shows market losses of $13.6 billion for cattle producers. Broken down by segment, losses were estimated at $247 per head for cow-calf producers, $160 per head for stocker operators, and $206 per head for cattle feeders. Mosier explained the association anticipates the payment limit will impact many stocker operators and cattle feeders in Kansas. At these levels, a feed yard with 606 head of feeder cattle will hit the payment limit cap. In addition, he noted for dairy farmers, KLA has estimated a 300 cow operation likely would hit the limit. Mosier reminded Purdue the CARES Act, which is funding the Coronavirus Food Assistance Program, did not require a payment limit on funds.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
Good morning. Zach Cotot here with Paragon AG, a division of Keiko Isom. Another week of more corona has come and gone, and it's continuing to take no prisoners in the commodity markets. The dairy industry and livestock sector are taking the brunt of it. With schools and restaurants closed, the consumer demand is now pivoting to the grocery space. This change in buying happened almost with the flip of a switch, causing a supply chain bottleneck. I don't need to tell you this, but if you've been to a grocery store over the last 30 days, it's evident that the demand is there, as shelf stockers can't keep up. You would think with this type of buying that the cattle and hog markets would be racing to the upside, but in reality, we're seeing the opposite. It makes a guy scratch his head. What's going on is we are seeing packing plants either shutting down production completely or slowing down the chain speeds in order to maintain the proper social distance, both with the goal to slow the spread of COVID. So, at the end of the day, we're not killing the same number of head that we normally see. The demand for the finished product is clearly there. We have this glut of live animals on the supply side, but we have this disconnect between the two, as processing isn't keeping the pace it should. With everything going on, this goes to show, not only in the livestock, but in grains and other commodities, that the market doesn't care what your cost per acre or cost of gain is. It will act irrational long after you or I are solvent. Over the last 5 years, and especially the last 12 months, being proactive in your marketing has put you in a better spot, so you don't have to react when the market backs you into a corner. It's not too late to have that conversation. Even when everything looks the darkest, dawn may be around the corner. If you have questions or would like an idea or two for 2020, give us a call here at Paragon AG Advisors at 888-452-8751. I'm Zach Otot. Have a great day.
Well, that's our show this week. If you have questions, concerns, or show suggestions, email me, Ken Rogers, at ken@agview.net. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on Authentic Ag.
Sure Crop Fertilizers was started by my father, Don Sherman, and my mother, Shirley Sherman. Family business that started in the 80s. We predominantly focus on plant nutrients and what we can do to give growers better responses with the fertilizer dollars that they do, and what we can do to make those things work better for the grower. We're based out of Seneca, Kansas. We work with growers in their soil analysis to figure out what they need, and then we can put those in a blend that gives them the best results, and so that we can deliver that direct to their farm so that they have those nutrients where they need them, when they need them, and so that they can apply them in a manner that's very efficient to them and works well in their planting systems and what they're doing. Sure Crop Fertilizers has been around for a long time. We always say we're big enough to take care of everything you need, but yet we're small enough to do it quickly. You can get a hold of us at 1-800-635-4743. Our website is surecropfertilizers.com, and you can always email me at Corey@surecropfertilizers.com, and with any questions you have, we're glad to answer it and work with you.